All right, it is 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and open the regular City Council meeting. It is 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. We are at Granbury City Hall. It's 116 West Bridge Street, Granbury, Texas 76048. Dr. Bonnie Mixon McKirk, who is with the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd, will lead us with the invocation. We'll all stand, then we'll do the pledges to the flags.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we gather this evening with grateful hearts, grateful for this beautiful city of Granbury, and grateful for the leaders who serve its citizens through this governing council. We ask you to bestow on these leaders your courage, wisdom, and foresight in providing for the needs of the people of Granbury and of those who visit here now and in the future. We ask your blessings especially upon those preparing for a new school year, that this season of learning and growing may enrich our whole community. All this we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
Okay. Item number 4, proclamation presentation. City Council, City Manager issue encouraging statements and recognize city staff. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you. We have a very unique thing. I'd like for ask Carla to show the video, please. So as you see this, we're grateful to the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners for their beautiful donation and making Granbury even more attractive. They donated hundreds of plants and enhanced the landscaping at 9 city parks, facilities, and public spaces, including City Hall, Historic Square, Granbury Regional Airport, Shanley Park, Hewlett Park, and other locations throughout the community. We sincerely appreciate the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners for their generosity, volunteer service, and continued partnership in helping keep Granbury beautiful. Their efforts enhance the appearance of our public spaces and contribute to the quality of life enjoyed by our residents and visitors alike. And y'all just know that all this was done in coordination with the Parks Department, and those folks were great to work with to make it all happen. Also, there's another video when this one's through. Oh, yeah. Some of y'all may have seen this. This is the Out of the Box program. The city staff and the city council and the Cultural Arts Commission have been working with TxDOT to transform traffic signal control boxes into colorful works of public art that enhance the appearance of the community. That's a beautiful piece of art there. It's our third Out of the Box installation that is complete on US 377 at Loop 567 near the Granbury Regional Airport. The artwork was selected by the Cultural Arts Commission and created by local artist Rebecca Zook. 2 additional signal box installations are planned as the project continues. Thank you to the Council, Cultural Arts Commission, city staff, and everyone who helped to make this project come to life. This was a long, arduous project to get it through the bureaucratic process with TxDOT, but what a reward this is to be scattered out to our community. So we have more traffic boxes available throughout the community. The next 2 are spoken for, but there are plenty more to go if there's someone that would like to participate in donating the art for that project. This is funded strictly by donated funds for the art and goes through the Cultural Arts Commission, and it's a great project for our community. So thank you all for that. Tammy and staff, I know you've worked hard on it. I also have another one. This was a letter written to our Assistant City Manager, Chris Sharp. I wanted to thank you for our staff for restoring the Water's Edge Bridge in our neighborhood. The restoration of the railing and the painting of the concrete on the bridge makes the entrance to our neighborhood look so much nicer. Again, I wanted to thank you and your staff for providing a finished product, which we're all very proud of, showing our friends and family. Chris Gachanis. So that's good news, and I just wanted to share that with the public. Thank y'all.
There you go. Others? Ms. Parker? No? Welcome back. Nothing down here? Nothing down here? Okay, I just wanted to just take a brief moment to thank the city staff who were very responsive over the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had really all representatives from just about every department that we had, all hands on deck, because we had a large number of signatures that we had to verify, that we had to codify and then put into the proper locations, making sure that we had digitized and that they were all responsive within the time frames as set up by the state Secretary of State. And then we had some others that had to be sent over to the Attorney General. All of that got done in the timely manner, but it did not get done without people spending overtime, having their lunch at their desk, and that includes everyone. I mean, we had security, we had housekeeping, everyone that was involved. So I want to say thank you, because we did that for the citizens of Granbury, and I appreciate every one of the staff that's involved in that. Thank you. So we'll go down to no one else. We'll go to number 5, public comments on agenda items for non-public hearing agenda items. Okay, we have none of those. So we'll go to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or previously discussed items and will be approved with one motion. However, should a member of the City Council wish to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. Are there any items that you would like to see removed? Mr. Overdeer?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove 6.4, the Lambert Park Branch Park Improvement Project. I think Aaron might have some few things to enlighten us on about that project.
Okay, we will handle that right before 7-1. Any others? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Overdeer?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ullum. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That will pass 6-0. All right, let's go to number 6.4. Consider awarding bid number 25-26-15 for the Lambert Branch Park Improvement Project to A&D Paving LLC in the amount of $186,883.50 with $28,000 contingency, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a great day. We've been working towards this a long time. I would like to ask for our Internal Service Director, Aaron McLean, to share with us this agenda item and report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager. It's a pleasure to shine some light on this project. It's been a long time in the works. So the Purchasing Department did solicit for competitive sealed proposals for this project, and we were lucky enough to have 7 contractors submit bids. We come before you today asking to award A&D Paving in the amount of $186,883.50 for this project. I would like to highlight that there are some savings that the city intends to participate in through some cooperative purchasing. Items like trash receptacles, ADA picnic tables, porch swing benches, regular 6-foot benches, some seed for revegetation, and then irrigation and solar lighting. We thought we could perform these tasks in-house and certainly come under the maximum $300,000. It is a grant through Texas Parks and Wildlife, 1-to-1 matching that maxes out at $300,000. So we wanted to ensure to get all the bang for our buck we could. I would like to brag on Kimley Horn and Public Management. We've worked with them hand in hand from the early phases of applying for this grant, and then Kimley Horn through the design of this park system, and they will work with us along the way until its completion. So most people in this room may not even know where Lambert Branch Park is. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's just east of the post office. It's one of our few lakefront parks. There's an existing playground there and small landscape area with a fishing pier and a floating boat dock. This new trail system will connect to the existing sidewalks that are around the playground and landscape area and add another approximately 750 linear foot of 6-foot sidewalks. This will create a loop system from our hike and bike trail through Lambert Branch Park and back to the trail system. In our 2020 Parks Master Plan, with this one project, we're able to hit 4 of our 6 major goals that is set forth. Goal 1 is to create an accessible and connected system of parks. This achieves that. Goal 2 is for quality level of design and maintenance of parks. Working with Kimley Horn, we're happy with the design that they have provided us. Goal 3 is to expand the trails and bikeway systems connecting to key destinations. This is an underutilized park, and it does expand our trail system. Goal 4 in the master plan was to celebrate Granbury's historic charm through the Parks and Recreation Network. As I mentioned, this is a lakefront park, and we can all agree that our lake is part of this small town's charm. And it is right next to our historic light plant, also at that facility. We expect this to come in around $275,000 with our cooperative purchasing and in-house installation of some of these park amenities. We have a list of prior board and council actions. We have had the Parks Board involved in this from early stages, and also council. And the suggested action is the staff recommends the award to bid number 25-26-15 for the Lambert Branch Park Improvements Project to A&D Paving in the amount of $186,883.50 to authorize a project contingency of $28,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. There are several attachments there: Kimley Horn's recommendation letter, the bid tabs from A&D, evaluation tabulation, and then also A&D's bid. I'd be glad to answer any additional questions you might have about this project.
When do you start?
Well, as soon as, if it's approved, and as soon as we get a signature, the contractor estimates, he said 45 to 50 days to complete, but it'll take a while to get it scheduled and on site.
Okay.
I'd just like to say, well done, Aaron, pursuing this grant and staying with it and working with the folks. Like we talked about this morning in our meeting, how we put together a great system of administration, and you're a big part of that, and we can't thank you enough for your participation and leadership with your department and making this happen.
Well,
So
it took
thank you.
several in my staff helping out with this
Absolutely.
project, but
Yeah.
thank you all.
Great.
Y'all have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Okay. We would normally go to 7.1, but I'm going to... Oh, yeah, make a motion. Okay. Consider awarding bid number 252615 for the Lambert Branch Park Improvements Project to A&D Paving LLC, the amount of $186,883.50, $28,000 contingency. Authorize the city manager to execute the contract. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Oberdehr makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Wadley seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So 6-0. Okay. We have reviewed the book, and the last item, number 7.12, is going to require some conversation. So I'm going to ask that we have policies and procedures. I'm going to move to suspend the rules and take agenda item 7.12 up at this time. If I hear no objections, is there any objection? No. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and take this up at this time, and we will have 7.12 come forward. I'm going to ask Mr. Kaufman?
So this item is public hearing, consider adopt ordinance 26-51, approving the request of the City of Granbury to amend zoning ordinance Articles 4. The general purpose is to amend supplemental standards for data centers and power generation. Be happy to let Cody go over it.
Yeah, I think that's the whole purpose here. We need more information. So, Cody, if you could just inform us, educate us somewhat here, and then we have some people that have signed up to speak on it as well.
Yes, sir. So this is a zoning ordinance amendment that was requested to be brought forward for recommendation by the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was a citizen that had drafted this ordinance and handed that out to the P&Z at the, I believe, May meeting, and chair felt so inclined that she requested it to be brought forward. So what is being proposed is for the land use standards and land use charts for data centers and power generation plants. What is being proposed by the citizen is that it requires a SUP for any data center or power plant operation in the zoning ordinance, and that it is there are some standards that it would be changed or language added to Supplemental Standard 43, which is in conjunction with the data center and power plant land uses. And this is what was proposed in that citizen's draft. 1,000-foot setback in a straight line from all buildings adjacent to this property.
Okay.
And so staff brought up our own that was similar in nature, just to give some options for P&Z so that they had other things to look at and maybe have conversation and bring up other things. What staff proposed was a 500 and 300-foot setback based off residential zoning districts, church, public schools, daycares, things of that nature, which is typical with our more or less non-favorable nuisance type uses, tattoo parlors, bars, things of that nature. That's where this 300 and 500 foot comes from. We also suggested a site plan review process that would be, it'd go to P&Z and council, similar to an SUP, with a few different standards when it comes to what that site plan includes.
Okay.
And so this is the setbacks that staff was proposing. And staff recommends approval to amend the zoning ordinance. And at the Planning and Zoning meeting on July 13th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the citizens draft ordinance, and that one be the one that moves forward, and their recommendation for adoption to y'all. And the voting options: approve the zoning ordinance amendment, approve the zoning order amendment with changes, or deny the zoning ordinance amendment. And that is all I have, sir.
Okay, the questions that I have, the information that you threw up on the screen, that's highlighted in yellow
Yes,
is
sir.
the attachment that we have here, and these, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, it's in the code.
Yes, sir. There's
Oh.
one that's a staff ordinance, and then there's one that's the original citizens ordinance, and then staff cleaned it up to our typical ordinance language
So
with the
this is-
whereas statements and
Is
whatnot.
this the original citizens? What is this?
No, that's the memo. Let me help you.
That's what I've asked for here, is help.
I'll get you.
Help to understand this.
Let me just see if I can find the supplemental standards. Let me get to the right page.
What I'm asking is this,
Let me get
is the yellow on this page the only things that have changed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And but I see what we're talking about here, but I also have seen the standard permit for for TCEQ for a generator, and if you have 6, it's 900 feet. So which would prevail? The 900 feet, the 700 feet, the 300, or the 500, or what are we talking here?
This is the proposed by the planning and zoning and the citizens.
So setback distance buffers to the adjoining property, setback distance, and then this 1,000 feet here.
Correct, yes, sir.
So the SUP on the other side, requiring an SUP instead of just a permit.
Right.
By right.
Okay. So,
As far as that TCEQ standard goes, that would be something that we would have to look at to verify that. That is not something that staff has really reviewed or gone into depth because that is an approved state permit. And so they have precedence over us when it comes to approving that permit and issuing that. And they would be reviewing, I'm assuming, the site plan that would be presented to them when they go to actually get the permits issued. So I'm not sure of that setback standard for TCEQ.
okay. Okay. So, I know we're trying now to find that out, what we have there. But the verbiage that is in here, this site plan elements, the 1111D that we already have in there.
Yes, sir.
This is verbiage that's already in our plans.
Correct. That's already in the zoning ordinance.
Right. Okay. Council, do you have questions before I open the public hearing here?
So Cody, what does the current ordinance say? Does it have any?
There's a
footage?
100-foot vegetative landscaping setback that is in that supplemental standard 43 that would give them that setback standard. Other than that, for industrial, it's 20, 30, and 40, depending on which part of the property it's at, with
Okay.
road frontage, side yard, front yards, rear yard type setbacks. So the 100-foot vegetative buffer is more than what we typically have in the industrial use districts.
Okay, and so then the two differences are, the citizens want 1,000 feet, and the staff wants 500 feet.
Yes, there was a 300 and 500 foot that the staff put in there. That was just to give some flavor and options for consideration.
Okay, and P and Z approved 500.
They
approved
approved-
1,000.
Yes, sir. They
Okay,
approved
okay.
1,000.
And TCEQ requires 900 if you have 6 generators. Nothing closer than that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
She can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'll work on that. Okay. And so this would be 1,000 yards if 1,000 feet. It's sitting out here 1,000 feet. We couldn't even put that in the industrial park, right? Right. The industrial park, the Commerce Center, but this is only for data centers and power generating
Correct.
sites?
Yes, sir.
Only for that?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And we can, as a city, we can limit to that degree?
There would have to be a taking impact analysis that would have to be completed at any time that we had a property coming in with this to verify that we were not going to be falling under a government taking for the property, rendering it unusable. That would be an evaluation that would have to be done.
Okay. Other comments of here? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Mr. Andy Walford has to speak on 7.12. Just your name and address. And you'll need to turn it on, please. Thank you.
Andy Wolford. I live at 2309 Vienna in Harbor Lakes. Good evening, Mayor Jarrett, council members. I spoke at a prior city council meeting. At that time, I stated that the proposed supplemental standard 43 to the zoning ordinances needed engineering input. I'm disappointed as they still read as having no engineering input whatsoever. Words matter. As an example, closed-loop cooling is not adequately defined. Take note, my desktop has closed-loop cooling. Data centers generate immense amounts of heat energy from the servers, from the power plant, and from backup power generation. Performing a recent internet search for data centers with closed-loop cooling revealed the following technologies were listed: the use of closed-loop cooling, hybrid closed-loop cooling, direct-to-chip closed-loop cooling, closed-loop air cooling. This year, the IEEE APEL 2026 conference, this is a conference by Electrical Engineering Society that specializes in powering computers. The keynote address predicted that GPU heat generation rates will quadruple within the next 1 to 2 years. And that means we're going from about 250 megawatts to 1,000 on the servers. The takeaway, Council, specifying a technology in ordinances did not achieve the intent of mitigating the impacts to people and the environment. The term closed-loop cooling is one example. Engineering input is also needed for water use, air pollution, heat rejection, sound, and light. Mayor, Council, you don't draft critical legal documents without the involvement of an attorney, so don't think you can neglect the engineer in these ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walford. Mr. Richard Hayes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Richard Hayes. I live at 428 Riverbank Lane here in the city of Granbury. Well, I work for a Fortune 100 company. I managed their primary data center for several years. As they moved into cloud environments, I saw several dozen data centers to evaluate them, some of them quite large at the time, up to 1 million square feet. But they are pale in comparison to what we're considering here in the Knox Ranch property. The size of the proposed development is pretty much unprecedented in the industry or in the world. So we have to proceed with caution. When I looked at the suggested language from staff, I had two concerns with it. My first was, why a shorter distance for a nursing home than a single-family home? Because I think the elderly in a nursing home should have as much protection as a family with kids. But more importantly, the language says 500 feet from a residential zoning district. Well, that means within the city limits. Most of the adjoining property to the Knox Ranch property is not in the city limits, so it would not apply to those. So the citizen ordinance provides a setback for all the perimeter of the property, which provides protection for our neighbors who live in the county. And I, as a member of Planning and Zoning, could not in good conscience vote to protect Granbury residents while not protecting county residents to the same extent. Well, then we get to the distance, and I thought 1,000 feet came up to me as appropriate because I had a phone call several months ago. Somebody was asking me about data centers, a survey. They said, would you live next door to a data center? I said, well, define next door. What do you mean, 20 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet? And I said, I would not mind living 1,000 feet from a well-designed and well-run data center. So I thought this 1,000 feet made sense. Now, please keep in mind, Council, that if we put this in the ordinance, that's just a benchmark. And if somebody comes through and has a good design and can prove to you that they're not going to be a burden on their neighbors, you can grant a variance through the public hearing process and reduce that down in as a planned development and give them whatever is appropriate based on the design that they have. So I think this is a safeguard for not just the city residents, but our neighbors in the county for an unprecedented size industrial facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. House. And Mr. Lou James.
Good evening. I'm Lou James. I live at 407 Counts Alley. I want to speak specifically about the requirement for a specific use permit. And I'm asking that you support the unanimous decision of your Planning and Zoning Commission and require a specific use permit for data centers. Looking over the SUPs that have been applied for and granted this year, well, Mr. Yanish is here tonight to ask for an SUP to sell automobiles in a commercial district. 6 others this year, all in commercial areas: a car wash in a commercial district, a convenience store with gas pumps in a commercial district, a self-storage unit, an animal grooming business, a truck parking lot, and an amusement event, all in commercial districts. All of those required an SUP. They were all applied for, you granted them all. You put conditions on some of them. For example, the car wash, you were concerned about traffic, so you put conditions that if traffic became a problem, the owner had to work with the city and perhaps adjust the ingress and egress to his business. So it seems to me that a data center is more significant, has more significant issues, perhaps more significant problems than an animal grooming business or a car wash in a commercial district. So again, I would ask that you support the unanimous decision of your Planning and Zoning Commission and require the SUP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Daniel Piat.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Daniel Piat. I live at 406 East Bridge Street here in Granbury. And I stand before you tonight to ask you to vote yes on the citizen proposed zoning ordinance that establishes the 1,000-foot setback and requires a specific use permit for all future data center projects. This ordinance is not about saying no to technology or economic development, but it is about saying yes to responsible planning. Data centers are unlike most commercial developments, and they deserve very thoughtful review before they are approved. For months, this council has explained that the reason for annexing this property into the city was so that we could exercise greater oversight and local control over what is ultimately built there. I've heard that for months, from January to now. Tonight, you have the opportunity to do exactly what you said annexation would allow you to do. A specific use permit and a reasonable setback requirements are the very tools that give the city meaningful oversight. Approving this ordinance is consistent with the purpose you've repeatedly articulated for bringing this property into the city limits. The question before you tonight is bigger than one project. It's about the future of our community. What kind of Granbury will we leave to our children and grandchildren? So tonight you have before you an ordinance that was vetted by your Planning and Zoning Commission, gentleman we just heard from, received unanimous support there. It's supported by more than 1,300 residents who have signed the recommendation, and it's consistent with the very purpose that you gave for annexing this property, which is to ensure that the city has the authority to exercise careful oversight over all projects of this magnitude. So I respectfully ask each of you to honor that commitment, since I've heard each of you state that in different ways, that you would vote to preserve local control, vote for transparency, vote for responsible planning, and I hope that this is just the beginning of reviewing and continuing to beef up the protections that we have in this arena. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Piat. Mr. Nicky Sobczak. I said, Ms. Nikki, yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at Mr. Scott Sobczak, who will be on deck.
Hi, my name is Nikki Sobczak. I live at Pecan Plantation, and I own property in the city. I am the citizen that proposed or submitted the draft proposal that the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended, which I appreciate. Everyone's already said what I was going to say, so I'll just start in the middle here. The alternative proposal provided by staff is 500 feet to residential zone districts, which does nothing to protect the county residents, like the ones that are right next to Project Patriot. The staff proposed ordinance does not require the SUP, and I think that's a really essential requirement. Given the mass scale and impact on infrastructure, a detailed analysis should be mandatory for an SUP to even be considered for data centers and power plants. The SUP offers a more comprehensive submittal requirement with regards to technical analysis, and it allows site-specific adjacency findings rather than relying on a clerical checklist required by a site plan. An SUP also allows the requirement for you to require them to submit technical analysis where a site plan does not. Finally, and most importantly, the P&Z and Council have the latitude to deny an SUP based on any problematic adjacency arguments and or technical submittals, and they can stop the use from going forward. That being the case, a data center or power plant should not be a by right use without the technical and operation requirements granted by an SUP. I also wanted to suggest for future consideration, there needs to be some discussion about requiring the owner-operator of a data center to bear the cost of decommissioning the site and restoring its natural state. This could be added to the SUP requirements. Also, over 1,300 qualified city voters have recently signed an initiative petition supporting the citizen proposal as written. Since this is the proposal that is supported by the city voters and the Planning and Zoning Commission, I would strongly recommend that you approve this one. And I have with me 1,300 plus signatures on an initiative, so I'll hand that to the Secretary.
Thank you, Ms. Sobchak. Staff. Mr. Sobchak.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. I do want to underscore the distinction between the specific use permit and site plan requirements. When you look at the zoning ordinance and take a deeper dive into the specific language, your site plan requirements, they say these are site plan elements. An element is a very specific thing. Parking, building footprint, fence, water well, you know, it's a specific issue. There is that little caveat at the end that everybody's familiar with, or any other information that the community development so seeks. But it's information, and the key word above that is element. It doesn't get you an analysis. The language really well crafted in the zoning ordinance regarding SUPs requires a couple of things that are very beneficial here that your site plan elements don't give you. Under 1111C, I think, and I'm going to just quote, the Planning and Zoning Commission or the City Council may require additional information, operating data, studies, analysis, expert evaluation, testimony concerning the location, function, and characteristics of any building or use proposed. So if your concern or P&Z's concern is noise, you can ask for a noise model. You don't get that with a site plan. It's an itemized list of information being presented to meet that checklist. But you have specific language in your specific use requirements to ask for that analysis. One of the things that developers and their consultants always asked, show me the language, show me where you can ask that, show me where that's required, because that's a cost encumbrance on me and my client. And you can easily point to your specific use requirements that language or that ask is required. You want a noise analysis, you want a traffic analysis, you want it presented to P&Z before it goes any further, you can do that. Noise, for example. What are the walls going to look like to help mitigate that noise? What is the decibel reading from the fence line to the adjoining residential properties, irrespective of whether or not it's in the county or in the city? And then the last thing that the SUP gets you is adjacency considerations. So when you look at your specific use requirements, you have language on the front end of your SUP is before the SUP is issued, you can look at adjacency concerns. Is it harmonious with the surrounding uses? You don't get that with the site plan punch list. So there's certain things that this SUP gets you out of the gate for your consideration before you act on it from the development community, where you can point to it in the ordinance and say, there it is. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and close the public meeting. Staff or council, you have other questions? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Cody, if they apply for an SUP but they ask for a variance, that goes to P&Z, and then, but regardless of how P&Z votes on it, it still comes to City Council for any variance, right?
No, for variances that would go through the ZBA. SUP would be a separate zoning mechanism that would come through the P&Z and council route.
Okay, but if the variance went to CBA, then would it then come to city council, or it just goes to them?
No.
It's federal.
They're a quasi-judicial body, so what their recommendation is, it goes to district court for any appeal after that.
Takings. 1,000 foot is, 1,000 foot circles, what, 70 to 90 acres, somewhere in there,
On this property?
on any property. If you took a circle and drew 1,000 feet around, you'd get 70 to 90 acres.
He's just talking about.
I'm just talking 1,000 feet. Yeah. Yeah. How, does that get us into the standpoint where we are going to have to go pay for this property because it is a taking? Or I notice there's no financial impact on any of the documents that we have here tonight, but there's definitely a financial impact.
That would be something that would have to be reviewed for a taking analysis to be completed for this property or any other property in the city limits that would have to be evaluated if this use were to be brought up. So that's pretty typical when you get into those conversations of government takings, is having that taking analysis done and identifying, is it going to be an issue? Where will it be an issue? How will it be an issue? Or if it's a moot point.
Okay. And again, this only applies to data centers or the power associated generating plants.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of the reasons for bringing this up front, didn't want anybody to be shut out at the conversation. But I need to better understand this. So I'm going to go ahead and ask that for a motion to postpone definitely, so we need a specific date, but definitely till, what's 2 dates or 2 times from now? August, September, what's September 2nd? Second meeting in September, what is it?
The first.
The what?
September 1st.
Is the second meeting in September?
No, the second meeting is the 15th.
The 15th. Make a motion that we postpone definitely this agenda item to September the 15th, 2026. Give us some more time to work with Cody and group to better understand, and then I'm sure we'll get more public input, more input as we go down the road over the next 2.5, 3 weeks.
Mayor,
Yes.
before we close this out, I have a couple of comments for staff. One, the SUP makes all kinds of sense to me also. I'd like to know if there's a downside to doing that because of the size of the project or something like that. You know, I'd want to know more information about is there a negative impact from the SUP, because it sounds like a good option. And the other is, on the distance, I need to really think about this. 1,000 feet is over 3 football fields. That's like a long way, which I like, especially from residential. But would it need to be 1,000 feet from a highway, or from a railroad track, or from another industrial project? And so the way I read this is it's 1,000 feet from any property line, and also it did say 1,000 feet from residentially zoned areas. It needs to be 1,000 feet, if that's the number we choose, from residences. You know, so it covers everybody in the county and everywhere. In the P&Z meeting, when I watched that, a comment was made about, what about future growth? You know, like if it was 1,000 feet or less than 1,000 feet from, say, a highway, what about the other side of the highway? And I want to put some thought into that also. But, you know, if somebody builds something in the future that's closer, it's kind of on them. You know, but if there's existing property, you know, I don't want to see us doing anything that's going to hurt someone's property. So, you know, again, 1,000 feet seems like a really long way. A football field's a long way. 3 1/3. But I don't know. You know, and y'all had 500 feet. I think we need to put some thought into it.
You could generate some topographical so that we can see that from different angles around town? Other properties, correct? Think we can?
We might be able to through GIS systems.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to thank Nikki and Scott for their work on the proposed ordinance. You know, we have professionals in our neighborhood, and we appreciate y'all coming and talking to us. The SUP is certainly beneficial for all the other projects that we use, and it's too bad we can't do this countywide. We don't need 10 data centers in Hood County for sure. But the thought process, I think that we need to really appreciate Mr. Wofford's comment. I think we need to get some engineering expertise involved in this, and obviously our attorney needs to be working with us on that taking impact analysis, put some wording in this proposed ordinance to address that, and who's going to pay for that, and make sure that the developer knows that they're going to pay for it just like they would a traffic impact analysis or a floodplain analysis or a drainage plan or whatever else they need to put in. But there are a lot of concerns as we move forward about how this ordinance would affect a separate property. I mean, we're talking about a property that is the target of everybody in this room is the old Knox Ranch. And I think if you ask either one of the stop checks, they're going to tell you when vesting takes place, and vesting takes place when an applicant submits a concept plan. And that concept plan has been submitted for that project. So these ordinances that we're talking about tonight, or these changes, do not impact that project. But we certainly can use an incentive agreement to use it as a stick to reach those goals if we get to that point with someone wanting to build there. So we are talking to Bilateral Energy. I've had my 7th phone conversation with them now in my life, and so progress, I guess, is being made towards communication on what they may or may not do. Also, the legislature has traditionally stepped in and super preempted cities on a lot of different topics. And it sounds like that's going to occur as well in the next legislative session. So it'll be interesting to see the turn of events, but I think that we need to continue on to fine-tune our ordinance to ensure that we get the best that we can, and certainly appreciate the public input. And Scott and Nikki, you're welcome to come and visit with us and work through this process too, just as professionals and as volunteers in your community wanting to do something. I know you've been working hard. We'd appreciate you working hard at City Hall with us, and see if we can work together to make things successful.
Yes, and Chris, Mr. Mayor, and concerned citizens, there is a requirement that they will have to plat this property. And part of platting this property is an engineering review that will make sure that they are not going to impact the adjacent properties. Engineering will be getting the TIAs, they will be getting the floodplains, they will be getting the wetland studies, they will be getting all the environmental, and they have even discussed that they would be requesting a, I believe it's a heritage review that would show any kind of former Native American or things of that nature that were significance to that area. Archaeological study. And TxDOT is also requesting a lot of review with this, and our engineers are asking that they get every bit of that information for review.
And, you know, while this is the target property and we're talking about an ordinance that is not going to apply to it, we've got our toehold with those others, those standards that we put in the paper that you see in the newspaper ad. Truly, if we can work to accomplish all these things to be successful, I think we're better off than if we didn't. Back to the archaeological studies and all that. All those are standard, and TxDOT is working also. While we're talking here today, they had a meeting talking about the loop extension. Had a meeting with the county and city officials, and that's moving forward. And so that loop is going to be constructed in that property as well. And whether this proposed data center comes to fruition or not, we're still pursuing a loop around. They'll take us over to the Biloxi Highway, and the county wants to take it all the way to 144. So, as in accordance with the master thoroughfare plan. And that's been on the map for decade or plus. So, nothing changes with the master thoroughfare plan. The developer, if they want to move it somewhat, can, but it still has to line up with where we want it to continue on. Nobody wants a loop that's not a loop. So we're going to make sure that a loop is built, regardless how it's developed, whether it's Centurion American comes back and buys it back, or some other company comes along, or whatever. But if we will work together, I think we can be successful. I know that a lot of people in this room just don't want a data center, period. I don't think they want a subdivision there either. I don't know what you would want there besides a cattle ranch, but it's not our land, so.
Okay, other
Thank you.
council? Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ellen.
I just want to express my deep appreciation for the citizen involvement here. That is something that is a little bit of a rarity, and sometimes we feel like we're on an island out here. And so I want to thank the SOPCHECs, I want to thank the citizens that got involved in this, and I want to thank the P&Z. This is a great way that citizens can interact with the government, and we can move forward to get positive things done. So thank you very much.
Okay. So, do I have a second to the motion to delay this until September 15th?
I mean, that was going to be my other questions got answered. Do we need a month and a half?
Is that a month and a half?
Mm-hmm.
It may, I assure you that once we dig in, we'll have more questions and we'll have more responses. So I think 6 weeks, what's going to happen in 6 weeks? The governor's going to make another pronouncement.
Okay.
So I think we'll need 6 weeks.
All right.
I think, yeah.
Okay. Then I'll second your motion.
Cody? Seconded. All right. Mr. Corrigan, second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That will pass, and we will be revisiting this quite a few times over the next 6 weeks, I'm sure. Okay, we'll go to 7.1. This too is a public hearing. Adopting ordinance 2643, approving the request of Motza Matshe for a comprehensive plan amendment from retail office, medium-density residential, low-density residential to commercial, and ordinance number 2644, approving a zoning change from interim holding to heavy commercial located 4955 East US Highway 377. Cody?
I'll turn this over to Cody Nolan, our Director of Community Development. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. This is 82 acres that is on the further east side across from the Toyota dealership, Dodge dealership, and Ford area. It encompasses the new Nissan dealership. This property is being requested to have a zoning change from interim holding to heavy commercial, as well as a comp plan amendment from retail office, medium density residential, and low density residential to commercial. And these are our sheets from our 2025 comprehensive plan that outline what the retail office future land use is. The medium density residential, the low density residential, and like I said, the current zoning is interim holding and the proposed is heavy commercial. The applicant's thought is that this aligns with what is out there currently with the other dealerships and PDs around there, and that this would flow for the rest of the 377 commercial area right there. These are the considerations for the Planning and Zoning Ordinance. Zoning Commission. And on July 1st, 2026, city staff mailed out 10 public notices to all property owners on the municipal tax roll within 200 feet of the subject property. And it was placed in the Hood County newspaper on June 27th as required by state law. There has been a zoning sign placed in front of the property as well as placed on our website. At this time, we have 0 letters in favor or against. Staff recommends approval of the comprehensive plan amendment and the zoning change. And at the July 13th, 2026 meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval by a 6-0 vote for both the comp plan and the zoning change. And the voting options for deny: approve the comprehensive plan amendment, deny the comprehensive plan amendment, and approve the zoning change or deny the zoning change. And that is all I have, Mr. Mayor.
So that'll be 2 motions, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions here for the group? Comments? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have, I don't have anyone that is signed up for this?
The applicant is here.
I do? Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Mayor. I'm Bill Baird with Baird Hampton Brown Engineers, representing Jerry Durant for this request. Mr. Durant has owned this property for decades. I don't know how many, but 20, 30, 40 years. And it has sat here waiting for an impetus. About 15 years ago, there was discussion to get Target to come in here, and we did a site plan with showing Target, and Target didn't happen. But there is a major retailer that is very interested in this property. Mr. Durant, I talked to him about an hour and a half ago. He had another meeting with him this morning, and they're about that close to signing a deal for this major retailer to come in here, 20 acres, kind of in the middle. And that's the impetus that he's been waiting for all these years to come to the city of Granbury, request a zoning change. The logical zoning category for this property is heavy commercial. We're across from all the auto dealerships, and this is going to be a major retail center here. So we're requesting that council approve the heavy commercial zoning district and the land use plan changes to allow for heavy commercial for the entire 82 acres. It goes from Fall Creek Highway all the way over to past the Nissan dealership, and encompasses the Nissan dealership as a chunk out of the westerly portion there. So we've coordinated extensively with Parks of McCarthy branch to the south for water, sewer, force main, lift station, drainage, prepared to construct the extension of DeGroat Lane through the property to align with, what's the street to the north? Can't remember it right now. Sardius, exactly. But anyway, I'm here to answer questions if council, mayor have questions.
Council? Well said.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public meeting. Other questions or comments? Cody, anyone? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 2643, approving the request of Mozart Matze for a comprehensive plan amendment from retail office medium density residential, low density residential to commercial?
So moved.
Mr. Corrigan makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Wadley, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2644, approving a zoning change from interim holding to heavy commercial located 4955 East US Highway 377?
So moved.
Mr. Elam? And second?
Second.
Mr. Wadley makes a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? I hear no ayes. So, Mr. Durant, thank you. And thank you, sir, for coming up today. You bet.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to 7.2, also a public hearing. Consider adopting ordinance number 2645, approving the request of Michael Yanish to change zoning from light commercial district to heavy commercial district, and ordinance number 2646, approving a specific use permit for auto sales, used and taxidermy in heavy commercial zoning. The property is located at 4303 East US Highway 377.
Yes, sir. So this is currently the True Life Taxidermy building. They had the front portion of the property leased out for a flooring and some sort of decor. Kia next door is getting a front portion of this building for additional office space, and they want to use the parking lot area as additional used auto sales. Both the taxidermy and used auto sales require SUP and heavy commercial. As it sits currently, this was light commercial and was a legal non-conforming use with the taxidermy, and they had a SUP back from 2008. And so this is cleaning up from that light commercial non-conformity to a heavy commercial conformity with the SUP for the taxidermy and the used auto sales. The current zoning is light commercial, and they're proposing heavy commercial and the SUP to allow for the auto sales used in the taxidermy. And this is the proposed site plan with what they will retain as far as taxidermy, and the rest would be used for Kia.
Okay. Question? Staff? Council?
I will note one thing, Mr. Mayor. On the conditions of this SUP, we have a limit of 2 year for renewal for the used auto sales, but the taxidermy has no time limit on theirs. So at 2 years, if this changes, because there are some discussions on this property possibly changing hands and Kia buying it, that they would need to revisit this SUP at that time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? I see no one standing waving their hands, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Other comments or questions? No? No? So do I hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 2645, approving the request of Michael Yanish to change zoning from light commercial district to heavy commercial district?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That will pass 6-0. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2646, approving a specific use permit for auto sales used and taxidermy and heavy commercial zoning? The property is located at 4303 East US Highway 377.
So moved.
Motion's made.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Corrigan. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That'll be 6-0. 7-3. Consider providing input and authorizing the city manager to finalize the specific scope of work and cost for the project implementation phase of the building and infrastructure project agreement between the city of Granbury and Amerisco, Inc. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mayor. Since this agenda item has been posted in your packet, some things have changed. We've looked at the life expectancy of the lighting, the part of this project, so everything in your exhibits are going to be different. So I'll turn it over to Deputy City Manager Michael Ross. He's been working closely with Amoresco on this project, along with the Internal Services Director. Appreciate the hard work you guys have been doing.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager. You may recall approving the project development phase of this work on October 7th of 2025. This evaluation was in line with City Council's strategic goals of making energy efficiency improvements to our facilities, as well as preserving the historical properties to the city, in the city. The first phase of work consisted of evaluating the lighting, HVAC systems, doors, and windows in several of our buildings, as well as evaluating the airport apron lighting and our sports fields lighting. This phase of work is now complete, and we are bringing to you 3 options to consider or discuss tonight to include in this project implementation phase of work. You may recall that we also shared some initial information regarding this work at your budget workshop. At this time, I would like to introduce DeVal Ullams with Amoresco to present their findings and recommendations. And upon completion, DeVal, Aaron, and I, and Ava as well, will be available to talk in more detail and answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Oops. We're short stuff over here. Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share this proposal with you all. As you heard from Mr. Ross, that we've been working on this together with your staff since last October. So this is exciting to be able to bring forward 3 wonderful options for you to look at and evaluate. And I will go through the options first from a costing standpoint, and then I'll go into the details of what the options include. So if we could go to the proposed upgrade matrix slide. Yes. So this is a little bit hard to see, but it does give you a really concise view of what's included in each building. The goal of this, from staff's perspective, has always been what kind of a project can we put together that addresses the most amount of deferred maintenance and provides upgrades to needed infrastructure in a way that's fiscally responsible. And so this is what we came up with over the last 6 months. To provide interior and exterior lighting upgrades for LED, which does provide energy savings. Building automation is just in Building C. HVAC and rooftop upgrades, many of them are upwards of 20 and 30 years old. That's old. Needed to be replaced. Envelope improvements, especially for the building, the square area, where you've got weather stripping and windows that are breaking and things like that that need to be replaced. And sports field lighting, where these were put in over 20 plus years ago, right? And so a lot of the poles are showing age. You've got halogen lights that are not easily replaceable, and those individual bulbs are harder and harder to get. So the projects I'm getting ready to present to you address a lot of this deferred maintenance and provide upgrades to your historical infrastructure and provide quality of life for your parks and recreation areas. Let me go to the base. The base proposal is about $5.6 million, and I'm going to go into the details, but it does include all of those items in all of those buildings. Then going to the next one, we've cut that down to only $2.4 million, and that takes out all of the sports field lighting except for more street ball fields. Okay? To try to give that a little bit. And what I did want to say is, as you look at these and the pricing for these, and the last one has no sports field lighting, and it's only about $1.4 million. The difference in these are minor. You're able to get a lot more done with one project manager on site, because we do provide a construction manager on site. And whether you're doing all the ball fields, some of the ball fields or not, the biggest length of time that you need project management for, quite frankly, is the HVAC with the cranes and managing all the different trades for Square Plaza and the Opera Center. So there's a lot going on with the different trades. You've got one project manager out there. You can get a lot more done with sports field lighting because that's happening in the background. So obviously, the recommendation would be to go with the whole. But I want to go through in detail a little bit so you kind of understand the breadth of what's included in here. So at Square Plaza alone, buildings A, B, C, and D, you've got 627 lighting fixtures that are going to be replaced, and you're installing the 9 controllers only at Building C. You're replacing almost 85 tons of HVAC in those buildings. Those are old HVACs. You're replacing 15 windows in Building B and 24 windows in Building C. And these are windows that are either cracked, have holes in them, are single pane, and the weather stripping is gone. Okay. Square Plaza HVAC, this is just the breakdown of each one of those 85 tons. If you wanted more information on the age, you can see a lot of these are over 25 years old, upwards of 36 years old. Okay. The windows, we just wanted to provide you with some information on the visual of what they look like and where they're going to be put in. So these kinds of improvements provide energy savings as well as addressing deferred maintenance. And all of this, like the full project, the base level project, saves about $37,000 a year in energy savings and operational savings. LED lighting at Square Plaza alone, those are annual savings for that. Okay. So HVAC at the rest of the facilities, you're replacing almost 100 tons of HVAC at the other facilities listed in the first slide. You're improving reliability, occupant comfort, you're reducing your maintenance, and you're saving energy. Okay? Just wanted to break out where the systems are, how big they are and their current age. You'll see some of these are 13 and 14 years old. You're going to have to replace them within a year or two. They're being included as part of this project since staff will already be on site to handle them. More cost efficient to do it all together. Building envelope, as you can see from the thermal image as well as the light image, as buildings age, and you have this probably in your homes as well, the weather stripping wears away and you get these gaps. Well, energy goes in and out of those gaps. You're basically air conditioning the outdoors, if you will. So that's part of sealants and weather stripping that's going to be done. That's pretty minor as part of the project. That's basic maintenance that typically most people don't get around to doing just because they're so busy doing all the big stuff. So we wanted to include that in this to make sure that the Square Plaza buildings get taken care of that way. The sports field lighting, this is the biggest piece of it. You've got 18 athletic fields. That includes those soccer fields as well as the softball fields and the baseball fields, and the practice area, the batting cage, and the site security lighting. And I think that's an important component here as well that staff wanted to make sure was included. And you're installing 62 new poles. So it's going to be all over those different parks and all over those areas. What was said earlier about this is that the sports field lighting has a unique capability from Musco in that they provide 25 years full for materials and labor. So life cycle is 25 years. They're going to do material and labor for anything that goes out. So that is huge for this. So you can finance that piece longer and have a lesser impact on an annual basis on your budget. And that is where I am open to questions on any of the options presented and how you'd like to have clarification.
And as Chris touched on, that 25-year parts and labor warranty did give us an opportunity to discuss with Ava lengthening the finance period, the debt period that might be considered by council for that length of time. Originally, we were talking, if it was the 10-year period like the rest, it was probably 3 cents to fund that over the 10-year period. If we were able, and if council was interested in evaluating that 20 to 25-year period for the sports field lighting, which is by far the largest component, we think it would be more in the a penny to a penny and a half, depending on 20 or 25 years that we might look at. And so that would be the total impact then for the project if we wanted to consider the whole thing. And of course, Ava's here to hit me or tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. But I asked her right before I came up to make sure, but that is where we are now. We're pleased to find that out. That wasn't new. DeVal knew it, but we weren't completely sure of the 25-year warranty, which gives us that useful life. Chris?
Could you expand a little bit on the quality of the poles that are proposed to be used for the replacement of the poles? We've got wooden poles and rusted metal poles, and I'd like to hear a little bit about the quality of the pole that you propose on these lights.
So they are going to be metal poles, and we are also going to remove the existing poles that are there. So that's
are they galvanized?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes. I'm sorry, I should have said that first. And then the other poles that are in place right now, we're going to be removing them as well as part of this project. So you won't have a lot of excess stuff hanging out around there. So that's a big part of it too, is all the removal of that, making sure we go a foot below grade and then regrade up to grade for all those poles being removed. But the quality is fantastic because they couldn't guarantee it for 25 years, both labor and parts, if it wasn't.
Could you address the engineering that goes behind the lighting and how that's going to be more efficient and more site specific than what we've got now with the light pollution and those kind of concerns?
Absolutely. So one of the things that gets done, and part of it has already been done, is ball fields have some unique lighting requirements versus a park trail lighting or a parking lot lighting. All need to be considered for dark sky initiatives, and we want to make sure that we're not providing light pollution going straight up. Of course, these are going to be brighter, but they're going to be more site-specific, right? So they're going to be positioned so that they're going exactly where the field is and not past it. So they do provide some pictures, and they're included in the, yeah, no, I don't think they're included in that. They were in the other documents. But
Could you get closer to the microphone?
Oh,
there, because we're recording this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't hear you very good. Yeah.
Yeah, so what they do, there's very site-specific, and you don't need as many lights per pole in order to get the same intensity of light for that. And you'll also have full controls remotely to be able to manage it. And because it's pushing it down instead of just out like that, because you can see your lights right now push out, most of these will be pushing down. So you're not going to have light pollution, and you're not going to have pollution into somebody's backyard. So those are big deals for any time you have ball fields near housing and things like that.
Thank you.
On the penny or a penny and a half, are we talking tax rate or interest rate?
The tax rate.
The
Yes,
tax
sir.
rate.
The interest rate's 4.75 is what's being used for the calculation. And the other important point that DeVal touched on is these existing poles and existing lights are nearing the end of their useful life anyway. So they're going to have to be addressed either one at a time or a group at a time as they continue to, structural integrity of the poles, for instance, continues to degrade. The lights are harder and harder to find. They're metal halide type of light, which is basically obsolete, just like a lot of the lights that are in the T12s that are in our buildings that will be replaced with LED lighting. So all of it, some of this is a pay me now or pay me later, and you could argue that it's more efficient to do it today in today's dollars than it might be over time, over 10 to 20 years.
Do we have an estimate or a guess on increased traffic through, outside personnel coming in for tournaments? Do we have that capability?
So that's what I was going to kind of expand on a little bit. So just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like at our parks now as far as use goes. I know you've all probably been down there or driven by when the fields are being used. So currently we have 2 youth associations that currently have their fall league and their spring league. And then we have adult soccer leagues, a youth soccer league, the YMCA, and then we have another league that's contacting us now, trying to get fields. So something else that wasn't mentioned is currently we only have 2 soccer fields that are lit. This would light all of our soccer fields. So we're only able to use 2 soccer fields after hours. We would be able to utilize all 8 of our soccer fields after hours.
8?
Yes. Yep. They range, the 2 that are lit now are used for adult league. They're the largest fields. And then the younger age group kids, once it's dark, they don't have any lit fields to use. This would change that. So they're, the seasons are about 4 months long each, counting your practice times leading up to the season, spring and fall. In between those seasons, and that's a recreational leagues for the most part, in between those seasons is when we have the opportunities to host more competitive tournaments. We do have someone contacting us now trying to get more soccer fields to use. More lights would help out there. The way it works now, something else that wasn't mentioned is when we turn lights on and off now, we are paying an employee to drive up there, turn lights on, and turn lights off later at night. This would allow us to reprogram that in advance or remotely turn lights off. Also included is more area lighting, so when the soccer lights or baseball lights are turned off, there's more security and safer lighting for all those people to get to the parking lot and to their cars. It also includes improving lighting at the skate park. Currently we have 1 pole with 2 lights shining on that. This would enhance the lighting there. We will get more use. I don't know. We haven't done a study to see how much more use we can get, but we do get complaints about shadows and dark spots. We have gotten complaints on the residents on West Bridge Street when we have soccer lights going till 11 o'clock at night. Our curfew at our park is 11 p.m. We have gotten calls from those residents complaining about the light pollution. This would certainly help with that as well.
Just along those same lines, working in other cities, we've also, and I'm sure Chris has as well, switched to this Musco lighting is what this is called. And where I was before, the ball field was in the middle of a residential community, and they went to these Musco lights, and it was completely dark at the property line where the ball field met the residential properties behind it. It's full cutoff. They are able to, with computers and technology and everything, when they install these, it is full cutoff at property lines. So all the proper light is only on the field, and there's no light trespass, as it's called, that Aaron's referring to.
Very similar to our street lights that we installed on the city street lights. They were very directional as well.
Exactly.
And they don't flood the light pollution into the people's front yard. So
exactly.
I've had positive feedback on us doing that.
Exactly.
Back
and this,
when we did it.
Just reminded, this does also include lighting, solar lighting, for the airport apron. That's the existing. It's very dark out there right now when all these nice new jets are flying in. We think that some lighting is warranted, and we can do that with the solar lighting that would be part of this overall package if approved. And just a wild card in this overall decision as well, as we all know, the legislature is, and they're beating their chest on wanting to continue to cap expenses and cap the ability of cities, counties, and school districts to raise funds for these quality of life type of projects. And that's what this is. It's improving the quality of life, allowing outdoor use. This part is the sports lighting, especially, and other types of funding like that. The governor's already saying that's his target. Of course, he's running for office, but that's just something that we don't know how much longer we're going to, cities and counties and school districts, those local government entities are going to be able to function, depending on how hard the thumb keeps coming down from the state on us. And so we're watching that very closely from the city perspective. We're gearing up in that regard. But these are just things that, again, especially with the ability to finance a longer period of time on the sports lighting, we're really feeling strongly that if council can handle it, that it's something we should consider.
You mentioned, or Aaron mentioned, some of the, you don't have to send a person out to do this, you don't have to send a person out to do that. One of the things that I'm continually both proud of and amazed at, if you go to the correct me, Ava, is it the ACFR? Yes. If you go to the ACFR, you open up the back of it and you see all of the different departments and the number of employees that have been in that department for the past 10 years. And it increases very, very slowly, some years not at all, while you transpose or you lay on top of that our population and our utilization. It just keeps going up at 4.5% and 5% a year. And I wonder how we keep serving these extra 4.5% to 5% a year with no increase. And it's because of the technology that the city has brought forward in many of the areas. I look at the chief back there and think the same thing about some of the in-car capabilities that we have now that used to be manual out of the car. So thank you for bringing that up.
You had mentioned or touched on the fact that this is going to also cover the parking lots. Is that right?
The apron for the outside of the FBO at the airport, it'll actually get some solar lighting.
The parking lots.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At the fields, yes. At the sports fields. Does this cover the parking lots as well?
It does not cover the parking lot, but it gets people from the fields through the park to the parking lot. Right now on our trail system through the park, there is sporadic lighting that's been there, well, over 25 years when that park was developed. But there are lots of dark spots. If you're walking that trail at night, you're walking from lengthy dark areas to lit areas to dark areas to lit areas. And this would better illuminate the trail system from those ball fields towards where people are parked. And it's going to better light areas that people, so we have a shortage of fields. So we have started having people practice parts of baseball and soccer they can practice where they don't need a field, like in beyond outfield areas. So it's going to better light some practice areas also for people to utilize those spots. Yes, and the batting cages.
And what we're seeking this evening, Council, is, you might recall, is some direction to staff, city manager, on what we might do next, what to bring back. If you have an interest in the package as a whole, then we can go fine tune the numbers, or you can authorize Chris to go ask us to massage this any way that you need to see it. But we're hopeful that with the ability to finance that big ticket item, which are those sports lights, that we could get there with just a penny to a penny and a half, depending on 20 or 25 years. And I would think it's not up to me, but 25 years would be the recommendation to keep that tax rate as low as we could, or tax impact.
I'll just add that you don't need to make a decision immediately. You've got an agenda item here in a minute to talk about the tax rate, and you're going to be setting a rate not to exceed, and you could tweak that number to the maximum that you think it might be, and then by the time we have our meeting, at the next meeting, I could get more information for you, and then you could adopt that rate or a lower rate to be prepared for that. So, this is the first time you've seen this, and I don't think it's fair to, okay, we want an answer, but I think that if y'all will work with me, and I can massage the product and get from staff and Amoresco what we need to answer your questions, and look at some firm financing packages for a 20-year package or a 25-year package. We already got the 10-year package. I think that's what that is.
Correct.
And that's a pretty big hit. So we also looked at this back about 9 years ago for the sport lighting, and didn't move forward with it because we were doing a whole bunch of other modernization to this building and some other areas. So another aspect that we hadn't talked about is the state legislature has put an unfunded mandate on us to cut our energy consumption by 5% every year. And that's very difficult to do when you're growing and adding new facilities like we've had to do with the police department and the parks department and those other areas like the Langdon Center and the conference center and all those things through the years. But if we can have energy efficient equipment, it helps to make that report. So we have to report every year to SECO, it's the State Energy Conservation Office, what we're doing.
So if we just provide you input to authorize you to finalize the specific scope of work and cost for the project implementation phase of the building and infrastructure, you believe that?
I would bring this back to you before we actually vote to do it.
Okay.
That's what, I think this is the first bite at the apple, so to speak, to let you see if you like it or not.
We just want to see how big the bite is.
Right.
Okay.
And
Well, I'd also like, Chris, to look at, with the useful life of the lighting at 25 years, that's wonderful, but also this encompasses the HVAC units, and that's not a useful life necessarily of 20 to 25 years. I'd like to see something in the middle as far as the projection at 15 years.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to be in this position 15 years from now asking for another HVAC system that we're still paying for.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Oh, good point.
Very good point.
Other comments?
I don't disagree that these are all needed upgrades, and the mandate from the state kind of pushes a lot of this stuff, but the additional increase is giving me heartburn. And we knew when we talked about this originally that was going to be a potential. I would like to make a motion to have you move forward, but I think one of the things that I would like to see is what it would look like, understanding that the numbers are going to change, right? To do all of the projects excluding the lights, and then look at the lights again next year, since we're already taking an increase for roads, which are a necessary improvement. So that would be my 2 cents.
What's the third option?
I don't know. I want to see what it would look like, what the numbers would be. The third option is that still an increase? Is that the
because
well, that's in
and, yeah.
the option 3, which is no ball fields,
Right.
is already, correct me if I'm wrong, Ava, plugged in to the budget? Okay.
If we did the 10-year.
So
10 year.
it-
Right, and that's-
right.
Yeah.
I would like to also add that the Granbury Historic Square Plaza will be funding their portion of these lease payments, so it won't be coming from the general fund.
To what amount?
As it's, you can look there on the first line on each of those estimates.
Understood, sorry.
About 10%.
Yeah. So that gives you a little bit of a cushion there to understand that it's not all financed with general fund revenue.
Then you look at this, the Square Plaza upgrades could be, partially almost all funded themselves. Airport security lights, I would hate to not spend some time there or spend the money there. Opera House pays for itself. Water treatment plant. It's the parks. It's really the increase, which
And
I think it's part of our character.
Yes, sir. And as Chris said, if council was comfortable just adopting a not-to-exceed rate, which doesn't have to be the rate that ultimately council approves, to authorize us to go back and look at this, do a deeper dive, and get the specifics, knowing that at least if we came back and you all liked the presentation at that time and the numbers, that you would have the not-to-exceed rate that you could consider, that penny to a penny and a half over the street impact.
Michael, why do the Square Plaza upgrades increase from one option to the other? I thought all we're doing is taking out lights.
Crane, overhead crane, installation, project management is the same on all that, whether you do the lights or not.
Yeah, the fixed.
Oh, so you're splitting
The
it.
fixed costs are being spread over different things too. I mean, you've got to have the project management no matter what. That's
Got
why
it.
we were kind of saying that if you do the whole thing. If you do the whole thing, it just works out better because your project manager is already there and you're not splitting it over a smaller area.
I asked the same question.
Okay. So we have a motion to authorize city manager to finalize the specific scope of work and cost for the project implementation phase of the building infrastructure project agreement between the City of Granbury and Amersco, and council could contact city managers should they have, like Ms. Parker's request, let's look at 15 years on the HVACs. So it may become, instead of 5 numbers, it's 8 numbers that we want to look at. But a broad range. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I have the motion.
Oh,
Second.
Second, Mr. Owen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear 6-0. Okay. More work for you.
Thank you, Duval, and your hard work. And I know you've been on this since last October, and but this is a good first start to introduce this to the council after the update. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item number 7.4. Consider approving sole source agreement purchase with Leo Site for a software subscription for portable radio GPS tracking on the Granbury Regional Radio Network, GRRN. It's in the amount of $500,000 and authorizing the city manager to execute the 5-year agreement at an annual fiscal year cost of $100,000. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it over to Chris Collins, our Technology and Security Director. I think
Good
that's
evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. So I bring forward to you Leo Site. Currently, we have entities to include Stephenville PD, Tarleton, Erath County, and Somerville County that do not have the capability to track their officers when they're on foot. All of the L3 Harris radios that have been purchased for the GRN have that capability. When we have our monthly meeting, this was brought up as, hey, is there a solution that L3 Harris has? L3 Harris had a solution. We had a demo that included all the entities that currently participate with the exception of Hood County. The entities like the demo, so they requested to get quoting from Leo Site to see if it was cost effective, because they had looked at other solutions that were not cost prohibitive for that organization, and so that's why they asked us to look into Leo Site. Once the entities got pricing to individually purchase Leo Site, it was cost prohibitive for them as well. So I approached Leo Site and said, we have these entities that are interested in using this technology. If we're able to bundle all of our assets, and the way they price their software is based on the number of sworn officers. I went back and we got pricing at $100,000 a year. Currently, with the entities that wish to participate, it's 185 badges of sworn. So that breaks out to be about $45.05 per sworn officer. So I sent that out to the entities. The entities said that was they could afford to do that. And so as part of our budget cycle, I put this in as a capital project to add Leo Site. Leo Site just is not GPS tracking. It also has other capabilities. The chief of police for Granbury PD didn't attend the original GRN meeting demonstration, so I had Leo Site come on site and give the chief a demonstration of what additional capabilities they get with the package, and he was thoroughly impressed, and the city could use some of those functionalities that we currently don't have. So I would ask that you consider approving this project, not to exceed $500,000 with $100,000 per year. The city's portion of that is a little bit over $26,000 because we have 49 officers currently on our sworn roll. I would happy to take any questions that you may have at this time.
Yeah, you said the radios are capable of this, so this is just a software thing.
Yes, sir. So all of the radios have GPS capabilities. So currently in the patrol units, in dispatch, you're able to track the officers on in the vehicle. Once they go on foot, there wasn't a mechanism or a software that would allow that. For Granbury Police Department, it wasn't something that we were really focused on because we, thanks to you guys, got Axon. And with our Axon body cams, we have GPS tracking where I could activate my live feed, and you can actually see, hear, and plot where I am on a map. But Stephenville had an incident, and I think Erath County had an incident where an officer went onto a foot pursuit, and for 15 minutes they had no idea where he was, which is a huge officer safety issue. And so it's been a gap that they've been trying to fulfill since that time. And we've had discussions about it at our monthly meetings, and that's how we got to where we are today.
But the radios don't have to be modified. It's just something you turn on.
Yes, sir. So basically it's a turn on the core that will allow it to plot on LeoSite's system and for them to be able to see it. Any other questions?
This is something that, should we approve it, you could have a demonstration and show what happens on these screens at some future meeting?
Yes, I could arrange that, sir.
Okay. Other questions?
I would like to just say that we wish Hood County would participate, but they have their own ideas of what they want to do that's not compatible with L3 Harris, and we gave them an option. We hadn't heard back from them how to accommodate what they're wanting to do. So we'll see how that plays out with them, but this is really just being responsive to our Granbury Regional Radio Network partners, and it's a need they have, and it certainly provides additional services to us beyond what that Axion body camera already provides to us. So it comes to a recommendation from the police chief as well.
And I do have a representative from LeoSite. He is a retired chief of Kerrville PD, if you want to ask him questions about LeoSite specifically.
Question? No? Okay. Thank you. All right.
This is built into our budget.
Right.
So it's already budgeted. Should you approve the budget in September, this is funded that way. So not asking you to consider more tax money for it. So it's already calculated.
So do I have a motion to approve sole source agreement purchase with LeoSite for a software subscription for portable radio GPS tracking on the Granbury Regional Radio Network, GRRN, in the amount of $500,000, authorizing the city manager to execute the 5-year agreement at an annual fiscal year cost of $100,000, with that Granbury portion being approximately $26,000 per year.
So moved.
Here from Mr. Overdeer.
Second.
Wadley, second. All in favor say yes or aye. Yes. All opposed say nay. It will pass 5 aye and 1 yes. Okay. 7.5, consider adopting Resolution 2611 authorizing the City of Granbury to apply for an electric aircraft charging infrastructure grant with NetCog's Regional Transportation Council. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Council Mayor. This is another opportunity that having our airport is providing to us, and I'll just tell you I'm excited. I want to be the first passenger once this program's approved. So I'll turn it over to you, Cody Mathis, our Aviation Director.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and City Manager. I like to think that I bring you guys some cool and innovative things from time to time. I guess if we wanted to make a cliche statement, we could say something to the effect of the future is now. But for a few years now, several new aircraft manufacturing companies have been flight testing their prototypes of unmanned electric aircraft with the goal of full FAA certification and the eventual integration of these platforms into the national airspace system. Fast forward to the past several months, and we now have a multi-state collaborative effort for the formal establishment of flight routes for unmanned electric aircraft. In our local region, the North Central Texas Council of Governments, in collaboration with the Regional Transportation Council, TxDOT Aviation, and the Federal Aviation Administration, have launched the eVTOL Electric Aircraft Integration Pilot Program, also known as the Advanced Air Mobility Initiative. This program aims to establish test routes throughout the region as a proof in concept of full integration of this new aviation technology for a multitude of proposed missions in support of the medical industry, the cargo industry, and yes, the big question and expectation on everyone's mind, eventual passenger shuttle service to DFW from airports outside the Metroplex. To support the required charging infrastructure network in our region, the North Central Texas Council of Governments has issued a call for projects valued at $1 million to be distributed to selected airports in the form of a reimbursable grant at a maximum of $200,000 per airport. The company leading the way with the installation of this infrastructure network at airports throughout the United States is Beta Technologies, who proposes the installation of their MiniCube Plus charging system at Granbury Regional Airport at an estimated cost of $92,500. Moving forward with this project will be fully dependent on our airport being selected as a grant recipient. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions.
Council? Chris has signed up first, Greg. Is that you?
No,
second?
you can have it. I'm not getting in one of those things. I just want to know, and it sounds like you answered the question. This doesn't actually cost us anything, so in the event that we get this and it gets installed, and then for some reason these flight paths don't get approved, we're not out anything.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to say that to the audience here, the council has been briefed by me on these agenda items previously to this meeting. That may be why they don't have a lot of questions for y'all to hear. Well, they've already asked a bunch of questions on those one-on-one meetings. So that's always been a wonder to me when I go to a meeting, that why aren't they asking more questions?
So the MiniCube you said is how much? $90,000?
$92,500.
And is there installation cost for that?
So we have existing three-phase power at that side of the airport. There would be the installation cost of running the line from the three-phase drop to the site of this infrastructure being built, but that is factored into the overall cost that would be paid for by the grant in full.
So if they're willing to give us 200, should we put in 2 MiniCubes? Just asking.
It's an option. There are 2 proposed sites on our new apron, one at each corner.
I like it. Okay, thank you.
Chris mentioned that this is something that has been talked about, but it is also being talked about around the state of Texas. In fact, in 2 weeks, Chris is with the TxDOT meeting down in, no, it's next week, isn't it? Yeah. Next week, with the TxDOT meeting, giving an update on this particular project. TxDOT is also, it is the TxDOT airport division that is working, or the aircraft airport division. 2 weeks, okay. That is working this. So this is another inflection point that we have working with TxDOT, just to keep them actively engaged and know that Granbury is here and that we need good roads, big roads, and faster construction than we're getting. And we're working with them on the things that they would like to see happen as well. So this is something that could gain us a lot of statewide attention and perhaps even nationwide attention. I know Tammy will have some kind of video on this within the next 40 minutes. So no cost to us. Do I hear a motion to adopt resolution number 2611, authorizing the city of Granbury to apply for an electric aircraft charging infrastructure grant with NEDCOG's Regional Transportation Council? And I think I heard that that would be for 2 units.
So moved.
Second.
Second with Mr. Olam. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That'll be passing 6-0. Thank you, sir.
Good work, Cody. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Consider adopting ordinance number 2647, amending Article 12.04 of the Granbury Code of Ordinance to designate 2 parking spaces on the east side of South Crockett Street adjacent to the Granbury Visitor Center as trolley-only parking, and to establish a no parking zone.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Occasionally, it's brought to our attention we have parking problems within the city. So the next 4 agenda items are going to address this. The first one being the trolley parking only. And you'll see on the screen, I think it's in your packet also, a designated spot we need to have as no parking permanently other than trolley parking. Our trolleys get used quite a bit, and when they come to drop off people or pick up people, occasionally cars slip in there and park. And so it's becomes impossible to drop off people and pick people up. So we're asking to have you guys approve this ordinance to allow no parking on that side of the building. We'll put permanent no parking signs on it, trolley only parking in that area. If you have any questions or comments on that.
I might just add that it's already stated that way, but there's no way to enforce it without this ordinance.
Yeah.
So somebody could park there, they could just look at our police officer and say, can't make me.
Yeah.
Questions? Questions, comments? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2647, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to designate 2 parking spaces on the east side of South Crockett Street adjacent to the Granbury's Visitor Center as trolley-only parking and to establish a no parking zone?
So moved.
Mr. Overdeer makes a motion, seconded by Mr. Ullum. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That is 6-0. Okay. Consider adopting ordinance, this is 7.7. Consider adopting ordinance number 2648, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to establish a no parking / fire lane zone on the north and south sides of the parking lot located south of Building B at 201, 203, and 205 East Pearl Street.
Yeah, this is the Granbury Square Plaza, so it's in the back of that. Up on the screen, you see that area there. The same problem we have with the trolley when we have cars parked along the fence, then we can't get the trolleys in and out. Also, you couldn't get a fire truck in and out if you have those cars parked there. So we're requesting no parking along the fence and then the fire lane closer to the building. Questions or comments on that?
Questions? No comments? Okay. Consider, do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2648, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to establish a no parking / fire lane zone on the north and south sides of the parking lot located south of Building B at 201, 203, and 205 East Pearl Street? Ms. Parker makes a motion.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ullum. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That too will pass 6-0. Oh, good. Consider adopting ordinance number 2649, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to establish 6 no parking zones within the Misty Meadows subdivision and authorize the installation of the necessary traffic control signage.
Yes.
Is that you, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
This too is in your packet. You can see on the screen, this is the Misty Meadows area. Just north of that is the school. The problem is caused when parents come to pick up their children after school. So they're parking on both sides of the street on Spanish Oak and Spanish Trail. And when they do that, you can't get a car down the middle, and you for sure can't get a fire truck or emergency vehicles or emergency management vehicles down it. So we're asking to put no parking signs on those sides of the street. If you note where we want the no parking, those are side yards, so it's not in the front yards of those properties. So the residents there won't be burdened with not being able to park in front of their house. Questions, comments on that?
Chris, how do you choose these? Is this a resident complaining that we had to do this? And what's the process to determine that, yes, this is something needed?
It was a combination of the school coming to us, and then one of the residents was complaining on the parking. So we have a traffic safety committee that we met and went out and looked at all of these sites and determined that the best use for this property is to having no parking on the sides of the street.
The Safety Traffic Committee is composed of?
Yeah, me, the police chief, who else? John Copeland and Kevin, our
fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
Okay. Yeah, great. Okay. Questions, council? No? Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2649, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to establish 6 no parking zones within the Misty Meadows subdivision and authorize the installation of the necessary traffic control signage?
So moved.
Mr. Ullum?
Second.
And Mr. Corrigan seconds. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Hear no nays, that would be 6-0. Chris, looks like this is you too.
It's me too.
Adopt ordinance number 2650, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinance to establish permanent and time-limited no parking zones on the east and west sides of Deputy Larry Miller Drive.
So, again, in your packet, you can see the map there. There it is. The problem we have here is during election times, there's a lot of electioneering that goes on in the parking lot. And so people will park up and down this street and blocking access. Fire trucks, emergency management vehicles can't get up and down there. So we're proposing to do on the east side permanent no parking from West Pearl up to the bridge. And then on the west side, we're proposing to do temporary no parking. So these will be signs that our street department puts out, no parking during these events. It's primarily for the election cycle, but the ordinance is written as such. If there's other events that we feel it's necessary to put the temporary no parking, then that's covered in the ordinance.
Okay. There's already no parking somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. If you turn right on West Pearl onto Deputy Larry Miller, the first red dot is a no parking.
Okay. Questions?
Who brought this up? Who brought this?
Who brought this up?
Yeah.
This is a request from the mayor.
The mayor?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure, that just so that everyone's aware, this is probably in direct because of my fire truck that's been there during the last 2 elections, and people's frustration that I had more visibility than others. I really don't have a problem with this, though, at all. I've played by the rules, and these are good rules. I have no problem with this.
Great.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Ello?
I just have the concern that, yes, we've seen the electioneering out there. We've seen the parking lot get full. And if that parking lot is getting full, and then we say, oh, you also can't park on the west side of the street, where are people going to park? Are they going to have to be traversing to the voting locations or parking even further? I certainly understand, a no parking zone on the east side, but on the west side as well, seems like it's constricting the ability for people to get to the polls. That is my concern.
So it's my understanding the county has pushed back the electioneering activities to the back of the parking lot. And so the middle and the front parking lots will be for voters to come in and cast their ballot and have easy parking there.
Other comments, questions? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2649, amending Article 1204? Nope. Am I on the right page? Nope. Consider adopting ordinance number 2650, amending Article 1204 of the Granbury Code of Ordinances to establish a permanent, time-limited, no parking zones on the east and west sides of Deputy Larry Miller Drive.
So moved.
Motion's made by Mr. Wadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Overdeer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays, so we'll pass 6-0. Thank you. Oh, good. 7.1, set the date, time, and place for a public hearing to receive public input on the City of Granbury proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 annual operating budget.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'll turn it over to Ava, but I want to thank her for the hard work that her and her team have done to get our budget prepared, and it's on file and it's online for the public to see now. And we're going to have a public hearing, and I'll let her walk us through that process.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council. With this item, I just would like to give you a little background. Back on June 29th, we had a budget workshop where the proposed budget was presented to you. After the budget workshop, my staff and I went back and finalized the book and prepared the proposed budget for fiscal year 2027. As per our charter, the book was filed with the City Secretary's office last week on Friday, and it was also available online, and anybody may access it on granbury.org/budget2027. It's available for public inspection in the City Secretary's office, also online. And with this agenda item, we would like to propose that the budget hearing, as required, will be held on August 18th, 2026 at a regular council meeting at 6 p.m. And with that, I recommend that I propose the recommended language just to set the place, time, and for the budget hearing for the fiscal year 2027 budget. If you have any questions, please let me know. The budget is also scheduled to be adopted on September 1st.
Comments? I think then the meeting that we delayed, date certain, should be August the 18th. I think I said 15th.
Well, that was September.
September. Oh, okay. So what is this? Okay. If you have not been to the website, granbury.org budget/2027, I certainly encourage you to do that. It is easy to see where the money comes from and where it's being spent on an ongoing basis. Okay.
There's all kinds of hover options over different parts of that document. You can hover over, it opens up other files. There's links to open up and drill down deeper. So it's really a very interactive budget presentation, thanks to our fantastic staff and our fantastic OpenGov software. So we're really excited about this. And another award-winning budget proposal. I'm just waiting for the award after y'all submit. It's going to happen. So, but anyway, we need to set the date, and the wording is the way we need it worded is in your agenda packet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to set the date? Got it. August the 18th? For August the 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Granbury City Hall for the public hearing to receive public input on the City of Granbury proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 annual operating budget. So that's the motion you made, Ms.
So
Parker.
moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Mr. Overdeer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. I hear no nays. That'll pass 6-0. Okay, now the fun stuff. Discuss the proposed 2026 property ad valorem tax rate for the City of Granbury and vote on the proposed tax rate not to exceed 47 cents per 100 valuation to be placed on a future agenda for adoption.
Thank you, Mayor. I might just add that if y'all decide to do the lighting, you would need to add some more money to that 47 cents, and then go through the process of having the hearing and make your determination what you want to do. So this is a motion to vote on a number not to exceed. Originally, we were at 47 cents based on the $20 million street bond that we just passed is being funded through this tax. And so as we move forward, if you want to do the lighting and the other energy efficiency, I would suggest that you add, I wouldn't add the 3 cents, because if you do it all, it's not going to cost that much, as we originally were talking at staff meeting earlier. Do you have that number, what it would take to go 20 years?
Yes, I have that number, yeah.
So
So,
what,
I was going to clarify that we are able to set up the financing where some of the equipment will be financed 10 years, and some with like the baseboard lighting that has a longer life expectancy may be financed 25 years. So they don't all have to be financed for 25 years.
so do you have an idea of what
Yes.
they should
So
put a cap
if
on?
we would do 20 years, it would be about 1.5 cents more. And if we do 25 years, it would be about 1.3 cents more.
That's bifurcating it like you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you know, if you want to consider that, you need to put that in the paper, and that'll be an ad in the paper, a quarter-page ad roughly, that says the proposed tax rate at that budget workshop will be 48.5 cents. Is that?
I was going to say 48 and a half, yeah.
That would
Yeah.
get your penny and a half, and
Yeah.
then if you want to do it different, we could do it different at that time. Give us a little time to get the variables answered for you and let you make your mind up. And if you decide not to do it, you just peel back to the 47 cents that we've been talking about. So.
But we have another hearing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is no more than, so if we said no more than 48, 49, 50, but we came back to the budget and said, oops, look what we found over here, shiny object, we don't need 48, 49, 50, we can
Lower it.
lower it.
Yeah, whatever
Right.
you put, you just can't go higher than that after you
Right.
post it in the paper. So it's a good public piece to communicate with.
Yeah, there'd be some, yeah. And
Do
this,
you want to, Ava, is there any details you want to share about
The
this agenda
proposed-
item? I cut you off.
No, thank you. This agenda item is, again, not to vote on the tax rate. It's just required by law to place it on the agenda for a future agenda item, a proposed tax rate. And the agenda item also includes all the various tax rate calculations that we received from the Houston Central Appraisal District, which includes, as you can see, the no new revenue rate, which is calculated at a little over 45 cents. The voter approval tax rate, that's a tax rate that we cannot exceed, that is at a little over 71 cents. And also, because we are a small entity, a small taxing unit, They also calculate the de minimis rate for us, which falls around 62 cents. So with these tax rates, we are going to be above the no new revenue rate, which is 45 cents. However, we are under the voter-approved tax rate. We are only required to have one tax rate hearing, and that would be scheduled for September 1st. The budget hearing would be on August 18th, the tax rate hearing on September 1st. So this is a process that we follow by law. There are many requirements, publication, notifications, website postings, and hearings that have to be set up. At this time, as Mr. Kaufman mentioned, you would be just voting on a not to exceed number to place on a future agenda item.
Discussion? Mr. Wadley?
No, I was ready to make a motion.
Okay. Go ahead and make your motion.
I make a motion that we adopt a tax rate not to exceed 48.5 cents per $100 valuation.
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
voting on that. It's
I
just-
said not to exceed.
But you're not voting on it. It's just to be posted.
To be posted in the paper and put on a future agenda item.
Second.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay. So the motion is to propose a tax rate not to exceed 48.5 cents. And to publish that motion, or publish that amount in the required newspapers and to be put on a upcoming agenda. That's the motion? Mr. Wadley made, seconded by Mr. Overdeer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, that will pass 6-0, and we will hear more about it on the later agenda.
I might just add one final comment to that thought process. With this project being on the horizon, you might expect the room to be filled with people that participate in the youth program in support of those lights at the next meeting. So don't be overwhelmed if they're here, but I've seen this happen before, and that's what happens. If you were talking pickleball, they'd all be here from the pickleball world, so that's what we're going to look at.
Okay, we will move to, that was 7.12. We moved to the front and handled that. We now move to 8, citizens' comments on matters not on the agenda. They have time limit of 3 minutes for a combined total of 30 minutes allotted at this time for comments regarding matters not listed on the agenda. The City Council will be allowed to receive input or information for further agenda items, but will not be allowed to enter into any discussions pursuant to Section 551.041 of the Government Code. I do have some people that have signed up. Ms. Kelsey Wolf, Ms. Nikki Sobchak, Mr. Greg Harrell, and Ms. Carolyn Davis. So, Ms. Wolf, thank you. Get that mic on for you. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. My name is Kelsey Wolf. I'm a resident of the city of Granbury. The citizens of Granbury have had enough. They have spoken, pleaded, and now petitioned. I have had another petition to cap the tax incentives on projects costing over $40 million. We have over 1,300 signatures, more than 15% of the voters in the previous election. Trust has been broken. We are not okay with you handing out corporate welfare to projects that could otherwise improve our town or that none of us even wanted in the first place. Let's let this be a step in the right direction and accept our petition that I'll be turning in to the city secretary now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. Ms. Nikki Sobchak. Ms. Sobchak is gone. Mr. Greg Harrell.
Before we get started on the timer, I'd respectfully ask that you allow me to invoke my privilege under the First Amendment to freedom of speech and also to redress of grievances before this body and not count on my 3-minute time limit. If you decide not to do that, I'll go ahead and move forward. It brings me no pleasure to stand before you here this evening. My name is Greg Harrell. I live off of North 51, but I own several properties here in the city of Granbury. I stand before you invoking that redress of grievances clause of the First Amendment, which allows me to communicate to you my dissatisfaction with government actions and policies, the city of Granbury, and it reflects a broader constitutional principle that I, as a citizen, and every citizen in Hood County and Granbury, should have the ability to participate in the political process and to hold the government accountable for its actions. That's what I stand here to do this evening. Unfortunately, I was in the county court at law earlier today. There was a text dialogue that was shown as part of discovery. According to the Texas scorecard article that has been since released since that hearing, here's what it says. I'm going to read it verbatim, and then I'll come back and elaborate. These messages contained evidence from around the time of Royer's arrest, suggesting that Galvan, Grizzard, Kaufman, and Granbury City Attorney Jeremy Sorrell were colluding to brainstorm how they could charge her, that is Eva Royer, in what was seemingly targeted lawfare. This took place. The text dialogue went on to state that this group of 4 people that were cited here had decided to also target a sitting Granbury Independent School District trustee, one Tim Bolton. They thought that they could get him in the crosshairs as well through this text dialogue. It's very obvious. Needless to say, Judge Haddix was very disturbed by what he was hearing. I'm going to truncate my remarks, but just to say that you, as the city council and the mayor, are charged with providing oversight to these folks. I'm talking about the police chief, the city attorney, the city manager, and it's time for you to step up as elected officials and perform your duty to provide oversight in this case, and to provide oversight in regards to the petitions that have been presented to this body with the citizens' lack of confidence in both the city attorney and the city manager. I respectfully request that you take your given authority and begin to do what you need to do to hold them accountable. I've got a lot more to say, but this cannot stand because this impedes on citizens' willingness to step forward and to run for public office when they know that they have an opportunity or a real reality to be targeted in this fashion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Reeves? Ms. Reeves is not here. Okay. Now, I did say that we cannot respond, but I do encourage any and everyone to pick up the phone. We don't have to just say things in the city council meeting. We are generally available. So let me move to, I didn't hear Ms. Reeves. She's not here. Okay. So we are going to executive session. Discussion of matters permitted by the following sections of the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Section 551071, consultation with attorney pending or contemplated litigation. 551072, deliberation regarding real property. 551074, personnel matters. Consider filling the municipal court judge position. 551076, deliberation regarding security devices or security audits. And 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We are now in executive session. Thank you. I now declare that the Granbury City Council has convened in open session. There was no action taken in the closed session. All council members are present. I believe it's 11:05. Do we have other business, council? Council? There being no other business, I announce the meeting adjourned.